All right, let's be honest. Everybody's first time is a little awkward. Mine was out in the rain. I was staring straight on to a very intimidating woman, and just looking at her, I knew that she desperately wanted to ruck me. She really wanted to get into my try zone. Ew, gross, guys, I'm talking about rugby. God, get your mind out of the gutters. You know what, it's okay. Prior to 2022, I didn't know that much about rugby either. But I had just turned 40, and I was coming out of the pandemic. I was totally out of shape. I had just moved to a new town, had no social support network at all, and I knew I had to do something totally drastic to get myself out there. I had signed my son up for rugby because, frankly, it was one of the few things that was actually being offered at the time. But I remember watching him and his friends running around playing on the field and just thinking, wow, that looks like so much fun. One day at practice, the club had put up a poster saying that they were trying to recruit for their women's sevens rugby team. And I read the poster that said, "We accept all bodies and all levels." And I thought, I'm a body, I could do this. I was immediately thrown into something I knew nothing about. Turns out it's called a pitch, not a field. It's a try, not a touchdown. A scrum is that group of people that's pushing on each other standing up, while a ruck is a group of people that's pushing on each other with one person slammed into the ground. And there are all sorts of weird position names. Prop, wing, hooker. Turns out I make an excellent hooker, by the way. Oh, and don't pass the ball forward, whatever you do, backwards. But frankly, that was more than I knew before I was at my first game. And it wasn't one intimidating woman, it was 7. And right before the ref blew the whistle, I had this horrible feeling in my stomach. They all want to kill me. Which they almost did. We didn't win a single game. But, truth be told, I had so much fun. I walked back to the car muddy and exhausted and bruised and ready to go back for more. So every Tuesday and Thursday, there I was, boots on, ready to practice. And some days I felt totally on. I figured out that the trick to a proper tackle is to do the pelvic thrust from the Time Warp from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Other days, I felt totally off, but the team was there for me and supported me and just encouraged me, and the coach was so excited to have this new girl coming onto the field and with such gusto. And by being there and through, grubbers and rucks and scrums and lineouts, I started to feel so supported and nurtured and had this sense of belonging that, frankly, I hadn't felt since before the pandemic. And by literally leaning into these women and lifting them up in the air, I felt so supported and trusted, and I knew that I had to trust them too. And I started to get a little bit better. So, halfway, almost to the halftime, this other woman comes running at me with the ball, and without even thinking about it, I just give her a giant bear hug around the thighs and slowly bring her to the ground in a giant thud. And as I get up and I dust myself off, I hear my team captain pull her mouth guard out of her mouth and screams, "Beth, that was fucking incredible!" I still have a lot of pride over that move. Tackling people is awesome. Being tackled is not so awesome. Or the hamstring pulls, or frankly, a very mild concussion. And my team was totally there for me that day. They gave me water, ice packs, anything I needed. But I remember lying in my bed that night crying, not from the pain, but because I knew that my time with rugby was gonna have to come to an end. A friend of mine described it as dating a rock musician, totally fun and exciting, but maybe not the best long-term fit for a long-term relationship. So the day that I dropped off a scrum cap that I had borrowed from a teammate, as I left it on her front porch, I knew that my relationship with rugby was over. But the love had been real. And I felt so nourished and supported and got such strength and self-confidence from that group that I will carry with me forever. And it gave me the self-confidence that I need to take on my next big adventure. And I will always, always cherish my summer fling with rugby.
Really good.